Good afternoon, class. This is Professor Hill Cook checking in, giving you a few updates on a few things we have upcoming. This will be the first of 3 videos you will receive today. So after this video, later on this evening, you'll receive 3 more videos discussing chapters 4, 5, and 6, which is the chapters that you are reading right now. You will also be required to, by Friday, October 2nd, to respond that you have watched the videos and provide any feedback that I may ask in the email attached to that. So once again, you will receive 3 additional videos of chapters 4, 5, and 6, which is what you should be reading in preparation for your evaluation of ideas next week and your upcoming second exam. Your discussion board questions and grades will be posted later on this evening as well. I will be reading over those this evening. So those grades will be posted on eCampus. As a reminder, all assignments are on the KHP content website. Nothing due to me is ever on eCampus. It is always on the KHP content website, unless I send you an email that states to respond to my email. That is the only other time you will respond to me on an assignment not on KHP content website. Period. Your exams, discussion board questions, evaluation of ideas. Every last one of those has an open date and they have a closing date and time. If you fail to complete the assignment in the approved time, you will not be able to complete the assignment. I don't open or close the assignment. I send that information out, and that is how it is done. The only way an assignment is reopened is if you have a legitimate reason for why you missed it. If you have any questions about that, please reach out and let me know how I can further assist you in that. As I stated before, you should treat this class as if you're on campus. What do I mean by that? I mean, set aside time every day or every other day for this class. If you were attending this class on campus, it would probably be on Monday and Wednesday for 1 hour and 20 minutes, both of those days. So at the very least, you should commit that much time during the week. So I know people are working, you may have families, but if you were on campus, you wouldn't be working during your school time. So don't work during the time that you need to be doing your schoolwork, because you will suffer, because you will forget something, and there's not going to be too many more opportunities for you to catch up and stay on track as the semester continues on. Your window begins to close on you. So I need you guys to understand that. Your paper, individual paper, is due November 25th. Your individual paper is due November 25th. What is your individual paper about? It could be about the Voting Rights Act of 1964 in comparison to the changes that came about in the case of Shelby versus Holder of 2013. What changed in the Voting Rights Act with the Supreme Court ruling of 2013? Compare and contrast. Who lost rights? What states made changes? Why is it important to vote? What changes to voting did the Shelby versus Holder case cause people? So you could vote. You could write about the Voting Rights Act. Or tomorrow, there's a debate between Trump and Biden, the 2 presidential candidates. Between now and probably November, there will be more, because by the time your paper is due, we would have had the election. So we know there's going to be more debates between the presidential candidates, and I believe there's one with the vice presidential candidates. You can watch that debate and write about it. If you choose to write about the debate, here's what I'm looking for. I don't necessarily need you to retell me everything they said in the debate. If they talked about 5 top categories, summarize. If they talked about immigration, if they talked about health care, if they talked about criminal justice reform, if they talked about taxes, whatever they talked about, summarize it. And then in your own words and your own opinion, what would be the impact if one of these two became president? How would that impact you, your family, your state of Texas in which you live in? How would that impact people that you know if one of these two become president, which we know is going to be one of them? So you could write about the debates. You could write about the debate between Senator Harris and Pence. If you want to write about the vice presidential debate, I think that one's going to be a little more exciting, but that's just me. So you have options to either write about the Voting Rights Act of 1964, comparing it with the Shelby Holder case that happened in 2013, or you can write about one of the debates, what your opinion is about it, and it's your opinion. You will still have to do research from different reputable news companies to support your position or to counter your position, either one. So those are your options for your paper. Since we're talking about voting, early voting starts in the state of Texas on October 13th and goes through October 30th. In Dallas County, you are allowed to vote at any polling location. It does not have to be your regular place. So please tell your friends and family that from early voting, you can vote anywhere in Dallas County. So if someone lives one place, but they work far out, if they pass a polling place between their work and home, they can stop there and vote. It's just that simple. But in order to vote, you must be registered. Registration for Texas closes on October the 5th. So if you have not registered to vote, please register to vote. You should be paying attention to what's happening in politics. You are taking a government class where we are discussing government and how it is supposed to function. The question becomes, is our government functioning the way it is supposed to? I think that was one of your questions on the discussion board. So when we talk about in these next 3 chapters, we'll be talking about the legislative branch, which is the ones that make the laws, the executive branch, which is where Trump is, and then we'll be talking about our bureaucracy and how it all sets itself up. So has the Congress done what it was supposed to do based on what we know about Congress? Voting isn't just a national thing. What happens to you and your family in the state of Texas happens in Austin because that's where our legislatures are. So if you're concerned about anything in Texas, make sure you're voting for those positions. The district attorneys, the prosecutors, judges, all of those things we have control over. But what we don't do enough of is exercise our power. And what we don't do enough of is research for ourselves what candidates are saying and whether or not it's legitimate or not. We turn on our favorite news channel and we listen to it and we don't do anything else. So if you're a Fox News reporter, Fox News person, you have a whole different idea of what the world is like unless if you watch CNN or if you watch MSNBC. You have a whole different idea. If you watch PBS, if you listen to NPR, if you listen or watch C-SPAN, you'll have a whole different idea of what's really happening. We're in some dangerous times right now. A lot of the things that we have come to deem as rights are being challenged in the court system. So it is important that you pay attention to this next Supreme Court pick, which should not be happening because of what her stance is, not just on abortion, because I could care less about abortion, but what her stance is on whether or not the ruling in the Brown versus Board of Education was legitimate, if that was the right ruling. And if you don't know what Brown versus Board of Education did, please research it. We'll talk a little bit about it in the next section. But please take your time to research things for yourself. If you are registered, make sure you have 5 other people you know that are registered. Make sure you show up to the polls in October for early voting starting October 13th through October 30th. The hours are usually 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Even on the weekends, it's open. So do not let the time or the day be a deterrent from you voting. There's nothing special about voting on election day, but there is something special about voting. And so please, whatever you do, take the time to learn the issues, learn the candidates, figure out what is important to you as a voter, as a citizen of these United States of America. So please be on the lookout for your 2nd, 3rd, and 4th videos that I will send out to you later today. Thank you and have a great evening.